Hi everybody, welcome to my follow-up after Stamp Wars video. Stamp Wars was Saturday. Our special guest was Amanda the Nerdy Crafter, and we worked with this stamp set from Northwoods Rubber Stamp. Northwoods Rubber Stamps was the sponsor of Stamp Wars. This is the White Oak Leaf Cluster and Sunflower Farmhouse stamp set. It is NO215. It comes with, let me see, I'll count all these stamps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red rubber stamps. This is the card that I created during Stamp Wars. This features the sunflower and the farm in the background. It has 3 sentiment stamps. One says, "We look outside and see that it is fall. It's time to be thankful for friends, family, and all." I stamped that on the inside of my card. I'm using Northwoods Rubber Stamp watercolor paper, and I'm using VersaFine ink to stamp with. I'm going to create an image where I'm going to create a panel where I'm stamping the image repeatedly around the 4 corners of my card panel. In addition to the sentiment that I read to you, there are also 2 other sentiments: Happy Thanksgiving and Welcome Autumn. And it has the large oak leaf stamp, and it has a smaller stamp with a big sunflower and a red barn in the background. So a really nice variety of stamps come in this set. Again, I'm stamping using VersaFine ink, and I'm using Northwoods watercolor paper, which is a hot pressed watercolor paper. It's really smooth. It's great to watercolor with, and it's my go-to paper for watercoloring. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my Distress watercolor pencils, and we're going to watercolor the panel. We had a lot of fun playing Stamp Wars together. Amanda was such a great guest, so thank you. And Nancy was the host. We had a lot of fun. If you aren't familiar with Stamp Wars, check out Nancy Stamp's YouTube channel. Stamp Wars is basically a mystery stamp challenge. So we receive from our sponsor the stamps, but we are not allowed to open them until the night of Stamp Wars. And then we play along. There's sabotages. There's lots of fun and shenanigans. So just check it out over at Nancy Stamps. And you definitely want to go over to Nancy's YouTube channel and comment, because she's going to be giving away this stamp set to one random person selected from those who leave a comment. So let me just tell you, I started with mustard seed, and then I grabbed a little bit of the wild honey. So mustard seed is from set 1. And wild honey is from set 3. I was just trying to add a little bit of like yellow gold color together. So the mustard seed was obviously the yellow. I laid that down first, and then I went over it with a little bit of wild honey. And then I did that for all of my leaves. And I'm just going to go ahead and speed this up for the sake of time, but I will make sure I recognize and explain the colors that I'm selecting. But I'm a pretty slow crafter, so I wanted to speed this up for you. Now I am taking a little bit of the color and I'm applying it to this little piece of acrylic. And then I'm adding water, and then I'm watercoloring with it. So it just waters it down a little bit, so it's not direct color, direct from the pencil, direct onto the image. But I do a little bit of both. I'm not going to lie to you. Sometimes I grab the color. Sometimes I just grab it from the little palette. Here I have a little palette going over here on the right. Just do whatever you feel comfortable with. But this Wild Honey, I like this color. It's just adding a little bit of a subtle hue, right? Because we know in the fall, our leaves are changing colors. And so that's what I'm going for here. Now, I am not looking forward to the fall. It's already starting to get cooler here. We've had a very strange summer. It's been wet, and then it got really, really hot. And now it seems like sometimes when I wake up and get going to work in the morning, it seems like it's a bit chilly. And then at night, I was sitting outside the other night. It was so cold. I could have wore a jacket. That's how chilly it was. Yep, so seasons change. But yeah, I fast forwarded it to the acorns, or the little acorns, and I'm using Walnut Stain Vintage Photo. Those are the two colors that I'm using to watercolor these. I'm using Walnut Stain on the top of the nut and the Vintage Photo on the bottom. But I just fast forwarded it because it's basically me using the same color over and over again as I repeated the pattern across the card panel. You see what I'm saying here. So again, thank you very much to our sponsor, Northwoods Rubber Stamp. We're so excited. It's one of my favorite stamp companies. They make these beautiful detailed stamps. And they're great because they have all different seasons, all different types of stamps. And no matter what it is, I'm sure you'll find something that you like over at Northwoods. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so glad to have you. If you're not new, welcome back. I'm so glad to have you also. Please give this video a thumbs up, which is the like button. That helps me to grow my YouTube channel. And please leave a comment. Let me know what you think about my cards. Tell me, did you get to watch Stamp Wars the other night? What did you think about it? Were you having a good time watching us? For the background blue, I'm using tumbled glass. And I'm just basically applying a watercolor wash. And I am trying to significantly water it down because I don't want it to be too bright. But the tumbled glass makes for a really nice sky, background. If you've ever been to a stamp show and you've been to the Northwoods rubber stamp booth, you know that they're the ones that have all the pretty bright watercolored images, and they put glitter on them. And so I am going to be using some glitter. The glitter that I'm using is from Art Glitter, and it's ultrafine transparent glitter from the Art Institute, artglitter.com. You can buy it at Northwoods Rubber Stamps. And I'm using my Art Glitter glue. So I'll show you that in a few minutes. So stay tuned for that part. If you've never added glitter to accent your watercolor images, I think it's worth checking out. It definitely adds a little bit of bling, and you don't have to use a whole lot of glitter either. It's just a little bit here and there to just the fine. It's such a fine glitter just to accent and to highlight your image that you create. And you could also color these images with colored pencils, watercolor pencils, Copic markers, any kind of markers. Truly, the very versatile images. And they're just so classic. You never go out of style. Now, I'm done watercoloring and my image is a little bit warped. So what I did was I dried it with my heat gun or heat tool, and then I'm running it through my fuse machine. And I'm running it through a couple times on the highest heat setting, so 5. Have it turned up all the way to 5. And this helps to take out any of the warping that has happened because of the watercoloring. Now, this is the part where I'm going to be adding glitter. So what you'll do is you'll want to work in small sections and just do a little bit at a time. This way your glue stays wet and your glitter will adhere. And sometimes I do burnish it just a little bit with the back of the spoon that I'm using here, one of those little mini baby spoons for like embossing powder and glitter. And so you'll see in my final photos at the end of this video that the glue dries clear and the glitter stays on the card. But yeah, this is just one way to just highlight your image, and you just want to work in little sections at a time. Yeah, so that's pretty easy to follow along and to try yourself. Once I have my glitter and I let it dry overnight, now I'm just going to apply this to a card base. I just selected a dark color, brown, from my cardstock. And now I'm going to add my sentiment, and I stamped the sentiment Welcome Autumn on a piece of cream colored cardstock. And I'm going to take some twine and wrap it around my card on the left hand side just to add a little bit of a rustic accent. Just thought that the twine would look nice on this card. I'm not going to make a bow. I'm just going to wrap it around, and then I'll just use some tape to hold it down, and then I'll take a piece of cardstock and cover it over top. That way you don't see the twine when you open up the card. And then I'm going to pop my sentiment up with some foam tape and just put that at the bottom of the card. Oh, and I wanted to remind you to check out the Nerdy Crafters YouTube channel. Amanda did a follow-up video that she posted yesterday. And again, I told you that Nancy has hers up, and Nancy will be giving away one of the stamp sets that are the same stamp set that we used on Stamp Wars. And if you hang on a second, I will show you some still photos of the cards that I created. On the left is the card from Stamp Wars, and on the right is my follow-up after Stamp Wars card. I'll have a list of all the products that I used in my description box below. And here's a final photo of the cards that I created. Thanks so much for watching. Have a hopeful day. Bye-bye.